We begin with a boy who dreamed of stars bowing to him, a vision that hinted at destiny, but also foretold a path of tests. This is the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, a story of taqwa, the constant awareness of Allah that shapes every choice, every silence, and every step. As a young man, Yusuf shared his vision with his father. That dream was not simply a prophecy, it was a sign, an invitation to live a life rooted in divine purpose. Taqwa begins in these small moments, in noticing, in reflecting, in realizing that everything that happens carries meaning from the one who watches over all things. Then came betrayal, the kind that breaks hearts and changes destinies. Jealousy led his brothers to turn against him, and Yusuf was taken far from home. Yet in his heart there was no bitterness, no rebellion. His fear of Allah was stronger than his pain. It was not the fear of punishment, but the awareness that Allah was still with him. He lost everything familiar, yet found the one presence that never leaves, the presence of his Lord. In the house of his master, Yusuf served with excellence. He could have become bitter, lazy, or careless. But the one who fears Allah works with sincerity, knowing that every task, even the smallest, is seen by the Creator. His integrity caught the attention of others, and soon temptation appeared. When he was called towards sin, Yusuf's heart turned immediately to Allah. He said, "My Lord, prison is dearer to me than what they invite me to." That was not fear born of weakness. It was strength born of awareness. He knew that a moment of disobedience could darken the soul. The fear of Allah gave him courage, the courage to choose what was right when no one else would have known. True taqwa is freedom. Freedom from desire, freedom from being controlled by what is temporary. Then came the false accusation, a test of character greater than the test of temptation. Yusuf was imprisoned, not because he was guilty, but because he was noble. Yet even there, in the darkness of a cell, his heart shone with patience. The one who fears Allah does not lose purpose, even in isolation. He served the prisoners, spoke kindly, and interpreted their dreams. His time in prison became a classroom of faith. The fear of Allah transformed his hardship into a mission, to guide, to comfort, to teach. When the time came for his release, Allah elevated him, not just in status, but in wisdom. Yusuf was called to interpret the king's dream, and his knowledge became a source of mercy for an entire nation. Yet he never claimed brilliance for himself. Every insight, every success, he traced back to Allah, for taqwa makes the wise humble, and the humble wise. When power finally came to him, Yusuf ruled with justice. Power often exposes what lies hidden in the soul: arrogance, greed, pride. But Yusuf's fear of Allah disciplined his leadership. He managed the resources of a kingdom with the same sincerity he had once served with as a slave. For him, power was not a privilege, it was a responsibility. The fear of Allah turned authority into accountability. And when his brothers, the very ones who had betrayed him, came seeking help, Yusuf forgave them. He did not remind them of their cruelty, he reminded them of Allah's mercy. The fear of Allah had purified his heart from revenge, leaving only compassion. He said, "No blame will there be upon you today. May Allah forgive you, for he is the most merciful of the merciful." When he was finally reunited with his father, Yaqub, peace be upon him, it was not only a family reunion, it was a spiritual revelation. Every pain, every delay, every wound had led to this moment of divine wisdom. Yusuf looked back and said, "Indeed, my Lord is subtle in what he wills." That is the voice of a man who truly understands taqwa, that every event, no matter how hidden, carries Allah's mercy within it. The life of Prophet Yusuf teaches us that the fear of Allah is not terror, but tenderness. It is living with awareness, acting with conscience, and walking with humility. It makes you brave in trial, patient in loss, and grateful in success. To live with taqwa is to live as Yusuf did, calm under pressure, faithful in silence, and merciful in power. It is to see Allah's presence in every test and his wisdom in every delay. So remember, the one who fears Allah loses nothing. The one who forgets him loses everything. The fear of Allah purifies, elevates, and protects, and in that awareness lies the deepest peace a soul can find. Pause. Gentle outro music begins. If you found wisdom and peace in this reflection, don't forget to subscribe for the next episode in this journey, where we continue exploring the timeless lessons from the lives of the prophets. Thank you for watching, and may Allah guide your heart closer to Him, always.